been one for scary stories, but when your buddies are all hyped up about checking out some spooky place, you kinda just go along with it. So there we were, me and 4 of my closest buds, cruising down the road near Hollow Creek. It was a Saturday night, and we were all looking for a good time. But Hollow Creek, that place had a reputation. A few years back, there was this massive car pileup. Folks said it was because of some weird fog that rolls in, just like that, out to nowhere. Nobody could explain it. Some folks said it was paranormal stuff, like ghosts or spirits messing with drivers. So naturally, my friends and I figured, hey, why not check it out? We were dumb like that sometimes. We parked the car on the side of the road and started walking. The night was dark, and the air felt heavy, like something was pressing down on us. But we laughed it off, joking about who was gonna chicken out first. As we got closer to where the accident happened, things started feeling off. Like the air got colder, and I swear I heard whispers in the wind. But we pressed on, wanting to see what all the fuss was about. Then we saw it, the spot where the accident went down. There were still tire marks on the road, faded but visible in the moonlight. And there, just beyond the trees, was the creek itself. It looked eerie, like something out of a horror movie. We stood there for a while, taking it all in. That's when we started hearing strange noises. It started as a low hum, like distant voices, but then it grew louder, and I felt this chill run down my spine. I turned to my friends, but they looked just as freaked out as I was. We didn't say a word, just turned tail and ran back to the car as fast as we could. But that wasn't the end of it. As we drove away, I swear I saw something in the rearview mirror, a figure standing by the side of the road, watching us go. And it didn't look human. I don't know what we stumbled upon that night near Hollow Creek, but I ain't never going back there again. The memory of that night near Hollow Creek lingered with me long after we'd left. I couldn't shake the feeling that we'd stumbled upon something beyond our understanding, something dark and sinister. I tried to brush it off, telling myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But the whispers I heard that night echoed in my mind, haunting me like a ghostly refrain. Days turned into weeks, and life went on as usual. But deep down, I knew I couldn't ignore what we'd experienced. So, against my better judgment, I started researching Hollow Creek, trying to uncover the truth behind its haunted reputation. The more I dug, the stranger things became. Stories of disappearances and unexplained phenomena littered the internet, each one more chilling than the last. It seemed like everyone in town had their own tale to tell about Hollow Creek, but nobody could agree on what was real and what was just myth. Despite my growing unease, I couldn't resist the pull of the unknown. So one moonless night, I found myself back at the edge of the creek, alone this time, determined to unravel its mysteries. As I ventured deeper into the darkness, the air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. Every rustle of the leaves, every creak of a branch sent shivers down my spine. But I pressed on, driven by a need to confront whatever lurked in the shadows. That's when I saw her, a figure, pale and ethereal, standing by the water's edge. She seemed to glow in the moonlight, her eyes fixed on me with an intensity that made my blood run cold. I wanted to run, to flee from this spectral apparition, but something held me in place, a curiosity, a desire to understand the truth behind her haunting gaze. With trembling steps, I approached her, my heart pounding in my chest. She didn't speak, but her presence spoke volumes, filling the night with an otherworldly energy. And then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, she vanished into thin air, leaving me alone in the darkness once more. I stumbled back to my car, my mind reeling with questions and fear. What had I witnessed? Was she a lost soul trapped between worlds, or something far more sinister? I may never know the answer, but one thing's for certain. The haunting of Hollow Creek is no mere legend. It's a reality, one that lingers in the shadows, waiting to ensnare anyone foolish enough to seek it out. As I drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that her eyes followed me wherever I went. And though I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, deep down, I knew the truth. Hollow Creek held secrets far darker than I could ever imagine, and I had only scratched the surface of its haunted depths. The days following our chilling encounter near Hollow Creek were some of the most tumultuous of my life. Every moment seemed to be haunted by the memory of that pale figure, her eyes burning into my soul with an intensity that left me shaken to the core. Sleep became a distant luxury, replaced by restless nights filled with fevered dreams and ghostly whispers that seemed to echo from the depths of my subconscious. Determined to make sense of the inexplicable events that had unfolded, I threw myself into a frenzied pursuit of answers. I scoured old newspapers and online forums, searching for any shred of information that might shed light on the mysteries surrounding Hollow Creek. But the more I uncovered, the deeper the rabbit hole seemed to go, leading me down a twisted path of half-truths and urban legends that only served to deepen the sense of unease that gnawed at my insides. I soon realized that the people of Hollow Creek were a closed-off bunch, their lips sealed tight against the encroaching darkness that lurked just beyond the edges of their small, isolated town. It was as if they were all too aware of the malevolent forces that dwelled in the shadows, choosing to turn a blind eye rather than confront the horrors that lay hidden beneath the surface. But I refused to be deterred. Armed with nothing but my own stubborn determination, I returned to the creek time and time again, hoping against hope that I might uncover some clue, some sign that would lead me closer to the truth. Each visit filled me with a sense of dread unlike anything I had ever experienced, yet still I pressed on, driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge that bordered on obsession. It was on one such visit that I heard it, the faintest whisper, barely audible above the rustle of the wind through the trees. At first, I thought it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, a manifestation of the fear that had taken root in my mind. But as I strained to listen, the voice grew clearer, its words cutting through the silence like a knife. "Turn back," it whispered, the sound sending a chill down my spine. "Turn back before it's too late." I froze, my heart pounding in my chest as I scanned the darkness for any sign of movement. But there was nothing but the oppressive stillness of the night and the relentless whisper that seemed to echo from all around me. For a moment, I hesitated, torn between the instinct to flee and the stubborn refusal to admit defeat. But then, with a sudden surge of determination, I squared my shoulders and forged ahead, driven by a newfound sense of purpose that burned like a beacon in the darkness. And that's when I saw her, the pale figure, standing at the water's edge just as she had before, her eyes fixed on me with an intensity that seemed to pierce straight through to my soul. I tried to speak, to demand answers, but my voice caught in my throat, choked off by the overwhelming sense of dread that washed over me like a tidal wave. With a sense of inevitability, I approached her, each step heavier than the last, as if weighed down by the weight of my own fear. And then, just as I drew within arm's reach, she vanished, disappearing into the night like a wisp of smoke carried away on the wind. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, the echoes of her presence still lingering in the air around me. And as I turned to leave, a sense of resignation washed over me, mingling with the lingering traces of fear that still clung to my skin like a shroud. I may never know the truth behind the haunting of Hollow Creek, may never uncover the secrets that lie buried beneath its murky depths. But one thing is certain, the memory of that night will stay with me always, a constant reminder of the thin veil that separates the world of the living from the realm of the dead. And though I may never fully understand the darkness that lurks within Hollow Creek, I know one thing for certain. It is a place best left undisturbed, a place where the boundary between this world and the next grows thin, and where the echoes of the past still linger, waiting to ensnare anyone foolish enough to seek them out.